Hello. So, about 10 years ago, a friend I had who was about 10 years younger than me asked me what it was like growing up in the 90s. Now, at the time, I thought that was a crazy question because I had asked that question many times to people who had grown up in the 70s. So, it was the first time I'd actually felt like a little old or anything. I mean, I didn't feel old, but I was like, whoa, I just got asked like an old person question? What the hell, dude? So, here lately, I've been seeing a lot of like 90s nostalgia stuff and things about latchkey kids and general like dysfunctional families and borderline abuse going around on YouTube and stuff. So I kind of wanted to hop in on that bandwagon and talk about a specific topic of what it was like growing up in the 90s with pets. My experience with pets in the 90s, because it can't just be me, but I feel like things have changed a lot. So, I don't really remember very young, like, wanting a pet and asking for a pet and being given a pet that was like my pet as a child to have. I remember vaguely, like, around kindergarten years, having a cat named Patches or something like that for like a brief period of time. And then I remember that cat died and we buried it at my grandma's house because I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house as a child, as did many other people in the 90s, I would guess. Yeah. I thought I had lipstick on my teeth. Anyways, so back to my grandmother's house in the 90s. Spent a lot of time there growing up as a kid, and I have like recollections of cats being around when I was a kid at my grandmother's house, but never like my cat, or like any. I don't remember the names of any of these animals, but I remember a group of kittens being born at my grandmother's house when I was like a wee child, like somewhere between the ages of 4 and 6. I want to say closer to 4 or 5 though. But I remember all of these cats being born and just having horrific eye infections, like eyeballs literally falling out of these cats. And apparently this was something that would happen frequently at my grandmother's house, because I remember my mother telling me as a child that there must be something wrong with the soil there or something, because all of these kittens would always be born, get eye infections, and then their eyes would fall out. And then at that point, she told me explained to me, I guess maybe was trying to explain to me what death was or something, and told me about how, at that point you have to put them out of their misery, and my grandfather would take them out back with some nails and a hammer, and that all you had to do was to just put that little nail on there, and you just pop with that hammer, and then it was just real quick, and it was good for them, and that it didn't hurt, they didn't feel a thing. God, I sound like a redneck. Can you tell I was raised in Appalachia? Anyways, so something wrong with the soil there. All little kittens die. So after that, I don't really recall having any pets, like all through kindergarten or like early elementary school. 1st through 3rd grade, we lived in a trailer park. And at some point living in that trailer park, I remember us getting a Cocker Spaniel for maybe like a month or something. And this wasn't something I asked for. I don't remember ever going and helping picking out a dog or anything. It was just, I just have a recollection of a Cocker Spaniel being there for a short period of time. And it had like bad separation anxiety or something. I remember it tore up a bunch of carpets. And then we got rid of it. That's all I really remember about that. But sometime before we moved out of that trailer park, we moved out of there after 3rd grade, before I started 4th grade. So sometime in the 2nd or 3rd grade, we got, I remember my mom picked me up for school one day and she had this little rat on her shoulder. I guess she went to the SPCA or something and got in this rat. The rat was really cool. I remember the rat, like, it would spend like half of its time in the cage, the other half it would just run around. The rat was cool. But it was like the family pet, you know? I don't know. I think I messed up the video there. This is the first time I've ever made a video or anything like this. But, anyways, my mom got this cat named Cairo. If you hold on for a minute. Come with me. Come with me. I'm also cooking a turkey while I'm doing this. So, my mom gets this cat named Cairo. And it probably was like the 3rd grade because we just had it briefly. I kind of hate it when people on YouTube do this, but and then, so 4th grade, we take the cat, we move into this house. It's a pretty nice house. For a brief time when I was a kid, got to be like pseudo middle class there, living in that house, but not for long. And most of it, partially, well, can't blame it all on the cat, but man. Just wait. So, we get to this new house with this cat, Cairo, and at some point, the cat gets pregnant and has kittens. And I'm like 4th, 5th grade, and it's like, oh wow, the miracle of birth, and we watch all these kittens be born, and it's all cool, you know? I actually remember that I named one of those kittens Victoria. I liked that kitten. Like I said, this is probably 4th, 5th grade, somewhere in there. So, first litter, 2 litters, pretty cool, you know? This cat's like giving birth and everything. We get to see it as kids. But then there's a 3rd litter. And a 4th litter. And I guess a 5th and 6th, and who knows? So, eventually, all these cats are just popping out like inbred and stuff. Like having inbred cats, man. I need to cool down. You can hear that, can't you? When I'm on the phone with my partner, he says he can hear it. So, eventually, we've got a whole colony of cats. I remember counting at one point, like, we're talking like more towards the 7th grade. This took a while to like build up this colony of cats. But I remember counting, and it was around 40 cats. I'm not exaggerating. 40 some cats. You can imagine the problems that come with having 40 cats, man. Okay, so they were indoor, outdoor cats. Hallelujah. Otherwise, that would have been a lot of animal feces in the house. We're talking toxoplasmosis ridden insanity. We had one of those big tube TVs, you know, with the big box, the antique ones. had this big old antique TV in the corner, and all the cats would just march up back there and like poop all over the place, and they piss on stuff, and there was just eventually, 40 cats. You can't keep up with the litter box, and I don't know what my mom did during the day when we were in school, but it wasn't taking the pets to get spayed. So there was the hygienic aspect of all of this. But then there was the fact that these cats would just die in like the weirdest, most horrific ways and stuff, man. Like, so one time a mom goes to do laundry and she just scoops up this laundry basket of clothes and chucks it into the washing machine. Oops, there's a kitten inside. Guess she washed a kitten to death, so got to hear about that coming home from school one day. There's another day that, kittens running around everywhere. She freaking steps on this kitten, dead center right on the back. Hits the thing all bloated up with milk like a little squeaky toy. And just shoots a fucking fecal rocket right out its butt. That one, I think, actually survived. We were really scared. It was still crazy to see a cat get stepped on like that. Another cat, I think it was my mom, fed it a piece of pork chop, and the pork chop was too big. So me and my mom and my younger brother, who was probably like between the ages of 4 and 6 at the time, have go in and we're trying to like dig out this pork chop lodged in this little kitten's throat with like tweezers and stuff. And I just remember the little kitten all limp, little limp kitten. There's the one that she stepped on, the pork chop one, the one that she washed. There was another cat that froze outside one time. I guess just died of like hypothermia, or who knows, it could have been one of the defects from all the inbreeding. But anyways, this one cat died outside, and I just remember going up to it and grabbing it by the tail, and the cat was stiff, frozen stiff, and I was like waving it around like a little flag on a flagpole because the cat was stiff, just like legs out, silly dude. And I was like 11 or 12 years old, and by this point there'd been so many cats dying all over the place, and didn't even care. It was just like, wow, look at this popsicle kitty, this kitty sickle, whoa, whoa, whoa. Really weird. So, and then, like I said, there was defects from all the inbreeding, so we had cats, like this isn't too big of a deal, but all the polydactyls and dipolydactyls or whatever, the ones that have one extra toe, or like we'd have ones that had like one extra toe on one paw and then 2 extra on the other. Crooked tail, I remember little crooked tail cats coming out, but we had this one little orange kitten specifically that came out with like this bad birth defect where it had a big hole in its chest, not like an open sore hole, but you could see under its fur, like its whole chest was caved in, and you could like stick your finger down in it and stuff. Sorry. About as mature as I was in the 90s still, if you can't tell. But that cat just died on the back porch of its health defect. And it was around the same time that I almost succumbed to a bout of pneumonia that would have caused fatality if I hadn't gotten rushed to the hospital in time. That's a whole nother story. But I ended up in the hospital for over a week with like a pneumonia and like these bronchial spasms and stuff. Kid almost died, bro. So right before I went into the hospital, this kitten had died on the porch, and it had been there for a couple days. And I remember as like this, I think I was like, I could have still been 11, but I think I was 12. Um, I just remember thinking, man, I hope when I get back home, somebody's buried that kitten that was dead on the porch, but they hadn't. So I get home over a week later from the hospital, and there's like this freaking maggot infested cat on the porch, man. And I just remember, like, I had to take like this really nasty medicine. It was probably some guaifenesin type stuff, like a liquid medicine, like every day for like God knows how long after I got out of the hospital. And I remember like going to school one morning, shooting back my freaking medicine and walking out and like looking at all the maggots on the cat and having that nasty taste in my mouth and just being like, ugh. And now whenever I taste like that faint hint of it on like a tablet or something, dead kitten. That's all I can think about, dead kitten. But when I was a kid, even with all like the cat feces around and like the cats dying, I was just like, whoa, this is kind of crazy, bro. But like, I didn't really think it was that crazy because I dated this kid for a while. He was an 8th grader when I was in 6th grade, and this is a whole crazy side story here. I dated him, but my mom ended up dating his mom and his mom's boyfriend at the same time, and then like breaking them up and then stealing my boyfriend's mom. And then after she broke them up, she ended up going back like a year later dating the dude, man. Whole side story there. But anyways, that lady, she had like this animal problem. They had like a whole bunch of reptiles in their trailer, like bearded dragons and snakes, and then they had all the feeder mice, and then they had pet rats and like hamsters, and then they had a whole bunch of cats, and then they had like a big old German shepherd, and they might have even had another dog or something. And then I remember at one point they even had a freaking duck in like the back bathtub, just chilling, just chilling. And then of course all of their animals, they didn't even try to like let them outside or anything or like keep up with cleaning them, so like their house was like way worse with all the fecal stuff than like my house was when I was a kid. So I was like, man, my house ain't really that bad. Like look at their house, and they got like roaches everywhere and stuff, you know. At least we didn't have roaches when I was growing up, so I thought we were not doing too bad, you know what I'm saying, despite there being like cats washed to death and froze to death and squashed and choked. And then one cat, man, freaking one day I went to school and I ended up with one of the feeder mice, probably from that family I was just telling you about. And one of the cats, when I was at school, busted open the cage and ate the mouse. I named the mouse Lucy. And one of the cats ate Lucy and then puked it up in the middle of the living room floor before I got home to school. So when I got home from school, I found like this weird like turd looking thing in the middle of the living room floor, and I thought it was a turd at first, but then I started looking at it real close and I noticed like fur in it and everything, and I was like, and then I noticed the mouse was gone, and I was like, crap, dude, one of the cats done puked up Lucy. So yeah, fun stories. Pets. Having pets in the 90s. Hold on, let me think, is there anything else? That was really the pinnacle of the craziness, was the cat colony. There were like a few side stories after that. Like I said, my parents got divorced like halfway through the 7th grade. House foreclosed. We like abandoned it, completely trashed, like some latchkey kid parents should leave it in the 90s. And we moved out of there back into my grandmother's house, the place with the cursed soil and make the kitten's eyes falls out. So we moved back in there, and some point, I ended up getting a cat that I did call my cat. It was a little black and white cat. I named him Chester, and he was cool, but nobody wanted to like make sure he stayed inside. And in my grandma's house, one thing I forgot was, you know, a whole bunch of like crazy hillbillies lived up her lane. She lived on a lane, a little dirt road called a lane, and all the people up the lane apparently didn't like it when you had stray animals running around. So if they saw your dog or your cat up in their yard, they's probably gonna shoot it. So I don't know. I think that's what happened to Chester. I think he got shot. But and then my brother got a dog. Oh man, that's one of the crazy stories. When we lived in the house with the cat colony, they got my brother a dog for like this brief period of time. And I just want to say my brother is a great dude, very successful, very compassionate, very awesome, and he loves animals. But for some reason, when he was like 5 or 6, they got him this dog, and it was probably provoked by his environment in some way to do this, but he stabbed the dog with a little tiny knife and bit it. So we didn't have the dog very long either. But later, after we moved back into my grandmother's house, I think it was like kind of much later, like maybe like 5 years later or something, my mom got him a dog, and then he was like probably like 11 or 12 by this time, and running around in the streets without any supervision, you know, nobody paying him no mind. Darn, dog got hit by a car, and that was really traumatic. That was super traumatic for him because he saw it happen and everything. But then, you know, he came back, woke me up, and then like just they picked the dog up and it's like blood running out of its mouth and stuff, dude. Just bad stuff, dude. Bad stuff. So the 90s was crazy. It was crazy. And people's standards when it came to like keeping pets was crazy. And I hope it's changed. I hope it's changed. I am definitely look back on my childhood in the 90s and us having pets, and I am completely horrified. Oh my god, so horrified. And I just want you guys to know that I have a little miniature schnauzer. Her name is Little Dog. I love her like a child because I'm probably never gonna have kids. I guess that's like a thing going on these days. Is it, what the hell is that? Oh, that's my timer going off for my turkey. Okay. Anyways, I've got Little Dog. I've had her for 14 years. Almost 14 years, probably 13 and a half years. Oh, here, I'll grab her real quick. She's sleeping. Hold on. If you stayed this long, I'm yelling like my microphone's not on. If you stayed this long, you probably want to see. I have a little sweet critter. This is Little Dog. I've had her for about 14 years now. She's about 15 or 16 because she was a rescue. She's not feeling well today because she's a little older lady. And as an adult in the 2020s, reflecting on the 90s, I can't imagine Little Dog ever being treated like the animals in my past. So anybody asking what the 90s was like, I'm sure it was very different for a lot of people, but this is what the 90s were like for me. And I hope that they were different for you, and I hope that there's nobody currently, like little youngins, having an experience that I had. And if you are, dang, I didn't even talk about the one time we were living with my uncle living at my grandma's, and my uncle had a hunting dog. He was trying to keep hungry so it would hunt better, but he just ended up straight up starving it to death. And my mom and my grandma got in like a huge fight over it and everything. I think that was one of the times we ended up homeless. But yeah, if there's anybody experiencing stuff like that, just call cops or something. Call somebody. Don't be a little kid letting it. Well, I guess if your parents are gonna fight or something, maybe you're not. But you're not alone. Anybody that had a similar experience, you're not alone. And I guess that's. And some animals are precious, and they're also treated precious. Jesus, look at her. Ah! She's a floppy dog. She's always like this. Okay, I'll stop showing off my dog now. I gotta get my turkey out the oven. So, if you've listened this far and everything, this is my first YouTube video. Never made one before. And if you stayed this long and you like this stuff, then I'll probably talk about more stuff like this on here. So like, make sure you subscribe so I can get enough followers, or maybe I could do like a live stream or something. And like, the YouTube communities have had a lot to offer me. So hopefully this video has had something to offer you. And oh jeez, that's hot. Oh, and look at this. My beautiful turkey's done. So thank you for listening to my rant, and I hope it wasn't too traumatizing. And thanks, bye. P.S. If you listened this long, I forgot to tell you one of the craziest parts of the story. I mentioned the people that had all the crazy animals in their trailer with all the roaches. That made me think that my house wasn't that bad. I forgot to tell you the craziest part of the story. The mom that my mom had the affair with, because I think it was like a whole open relationship thing. I don't know. I shouldn't have known about any of it at 12, but it is what it is. But anyways, she ended up going to prison, y'all. Like, I don't know how long she ended up doing in prison, but the reason she went to prison, you guys, is so freaking bad. So the German Shepherd that they had in the trailer, that I guess, I don't know if it was the same German Shepherd they had when I knew them and went over there. Mind you guys, I'm like talking like, I'm not even a teenager at the point in any of these stories. I'm not even a teenager yet. But anyways, the lady, I think it might have been the same German Shepherd. I guess in the trailer park that they lived in, they had like a whole bunch of problems with her German Shepherd getting out and like roaming the neighborhood and stuff. So they tell her to like keep the dog in, but she kept letting the dog out. So she let the dog out one day, y'all, and this freaking dog found an old woman walking her little dog, and the German Shepherd ate the little dog. And it doesn't stop there. Then it turned on the elderly woman, and I'm just gonna leave it there. She didn't survive, and the lady went to jail for I think it was manslaughter. I don't know how, but I looked it up, and yeah, crazy. Can you believe that? The standards were so low in the 90s, you guys. That's my experience with the 90s, was just saying the standards were so low, especially in maintaining pets. There weren't any standards. And take care of your pets, you guys. Love them.